We're back. We're back. We're live. We're doing something that's already tried and tested. We know this works. I know I'm excited. I know the two boys in the green room are very excited to be doing this again. Um, we're back doing Hammer Time of our lives. And this is the season of 2001. I obviously have two people in the green room. Rob, bring yourself in, my man. Come and say hello to the lovely people.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You'll have to forgive me. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today. You really don't want to see my ugly mug, and you can probably hear from my voice. I'm with man flu.
So are you laid up in bed being waited on hand and foot?
I'm sitting here completely stark naked.
I mean, stay off camera, or you please. That would be amazing. I would be quite happy if you stayed off camera. I'm not going to lie to you. Makes me feel a little bit. Um, and obviously, in the green room is the legend whose idea this was when we started all the way back in, I think, March or April last year when we kicked off this with the 85-86 season. The legend that is Andy Miles. Andy, how are you, sir?
Mate, I don't know whether I'm more excited for now or when Take That got back together, but it's hard to pick.
Well, I mean, we did tease this idea at the end of a video a couple of months back, didn't we? Where we blurred your face out, and Gatesy put together a little bit of a to do for it. And we actually only agreed on this video about 12 hours ago, chaps, wasn't it? About 12 or 14 hours ago was this video was confirmed that we were doing this evening. So, I'll be honest, I've spent the day very excited. I kind of finished work, got upstairs, not going to lie, set the laptop up, ready to come up with a new intro that I put together, and fell asleep because I was absolutely shattered. And then I had a panic attack at about 6:30 because I was like, oh shit, what's the time? Oh, okay, no, we're fine, we're good.
Yeah.
So, as Sharky's put there, look who it is. It's good to be back. Pete's there saying it's nice to have us all back together after a long time, and I feel the same. And Sharky says the three amigos, and obviously Becca's in the chat there saying good evening as well. Boys, we're here to discuss 2001 season now. To be honest, I have a feeling. I don't know about you two boys, but I know It's gonna take a while to get back into the swing of just how smoothly we ran it last time.
Yeah,
Obviously,
no, of course.
we have cut back on our games, chaps, haven't we? We've gone from having about 26 matches out of the season that we tried to squeeze into a small time. We've actually now only down to two because obviously. Um, we were doing videos that lasted, three, 3 or 4 hours, and I'm pretty sure these lovely people don't need to be seeing that. Peter, no worries, it's going to be on the channel, so please do, Mister. Wow, Wolsey. Good evening. So, 2001 season. The season itself was notable for up until this point the highest finishing of a team promoted the previous season. Obviously, Ipswich came up and actually finished sixth, qualifying for Europe. Which, I mean, I don't know about you boys, but I wouldn't expect to see that now. Do you know what I mean? With the influx of money and just how difficult that top six essentially is to break into. What about you boys? Rob, do you think it's possible to see someone
Oh,
like Fulham coming up this season and doing
it,
it?
it's nothing's impossible, But let's be honest. It's something that would require an awful lot of good fortune for the team coming up and an awful lot of bad fortune for at least one of the the top 6 clubs to drop out to create that gap, that opportunity for the team that comes up. Realistically, it's something that probably happens once in a generation, if we're being honest.
Yeah, Andy, I mean, when you look, I mean, as I said there, Ipswich came up, they finished 6th. And George Burley won Manager of the Year that season because he obviously guided them on a very limited budget. I mean, I'll go through transfers in a minute, and one of the players that they bought in and the cost of what they paid for them. And when you look at those around and the certain teams you'd expect to be up there, I mean, what are your thoughts? Obviously, as Gatesy said there, it'd take a lot of, misfortune for one of the clubs and a lot of good fortune for them. Do you think we'll ever see something like it again, or even a fairy tale type of season? Maybe, top, well, even qualifying for Europe as such.
I think the only real contrast what you can probably give is not really a promoted side. Technically, what we done, avoided relegation, and then went on to that run. Obviously, not last season, the season before. That's probably the closest you're probably going to get now. When you see the likes of the teams coming up, Fulham are just a yo-yo team.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, they established themselves for so long, but when I was on holiday, actually, I was talking to someone. He's the head groundsman at Bournemouth, so I was talking to him for. Do you know, you just I just want to go there relaxing, but then I ended up spending half of my time talking to someone about football. But no, he was a very nice bloke and very nice to talk. And he just said they just went, Bournemouth are not going to invest at the minute unless they get a new owner. They nearly went out of business. Do you know, for getting relegated? It's mad to think. So when you think of it like that, the only way you could sort of see it happening is probably a big club. I better not be careful before a big club like us, or wouldn't be Newcastle now, but like a Villa, getting relegated and then coming back up again because we've got the parachute to do it. But apart from that, I can't see anyone else doing it. No.
Bit difficult. I mean, as I say, so the notable transfers in for, I think I've got 11 transfers here, boys. I'm going to put to you and you 6 in the chat. I'll say 5 because Becca probably ain't going to have a bloody Scooby. What we're going on about in a minute. So I've got 11. I've got 11 teams, and I've got their most notable or their most expensive transfers into their clubs. Now I'll start. Obviously, I've got Leeds, and we all know the notable transfer in for Leeds of this season was obviously Rio, and Rio Ferdinand left us. Tell me I'm wrong, Beck. Rio Ferdinand left us, and we got at the time a bloody hefty sum, just over 23 million for Rio, which obviously was then used to build the Dr. Martin stand this season after. I mean, Rio Ferdinand, 23 million. Then Andy, what does he go for in today's market? When you look at Nunes has just signed for Liverpool for what, 90? It's something like £90 million. Mane's gone the other way for 35 at the age of 206. Well, what's he worth in today's market, Andy?
I'll probably say 120, 130 million because, in my opinion, he's better than Van Dijk. If you compare the two, so when you think he went for 90, he's just different class. I know what he's done since he's retired. Obviously, 1 minute he's apparently West Ham fan, and you compare what his brother's like. But for what he done on the pitch, the one thing what I will say was that when he played against us, he's not a Lampard or a Terry. Celebrating, giving it that much. So the respect what he gave the club, because obviously we made him in that position. But for what he done on the pitch, that lead side, what went on to get to was this the season for the semi-final?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So what they went on, it just proves Rio joins that team, and look what happens. So no, world class.
Rob, are you in agreement with Andy there? 120 million in today's money for a player like Ferdinand?
Well, if we're talking about prime Rio Ferdinand, I would suggest that figure would probably be accurate. But if we're talking about the Rio Ferdinand that made the transfer to Leeds United, I would probably say a little bit less. I would probably go around about 80 to 100, because don't forget, this was a Rio that was yet to hit his prime years. I mean, he was 21 when he left us, was he? 2021,
yeah.
something
I think
like
that's
that.
not far off, mate. Yeah.
But he was still prone to making errors. I mean, I remember many games where he was like Bambi on ice. Still a great player, don't get me wrong. And we got 18 million for him from Leeds United. And Leeds United, what was it? They sold him 18 months later after the World Cup in Japan and Korea to Manchester United for about 30 million, I think it was. So they made a 12 million pound profit in a year and a half, essentially.
Yeah.
But if we're like I say, if we're talking about the Rio that left West Ham United to go to Leeds United, I would probably say 80 to 100 in today's market. Prime Rio Ferdinand, no, I would probably say Milesy's figure at that point would probably be correct.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't disagree with you there, boys. I mean, you both, like, as we've done this many times, you both got valid points. You both got your own opinions on it. I'm inclined to agree with both.
In your opinion, do you reckon him and Vidic together was the best Premier League partnership centre back pairing at the time for 2 or 3 years where they were successful? Or do you reckon there was a better pairing?
I'll be honest with you, mate. I think I'd put them up there in probably the top 3 of defensive pairings for me. I just think I go back then and I watched, go back and watch certain games, and we'll do that as we go forward.
Yeah.
Obviously, when he goes to when we do the season in a couple of weeks' time, when he joins United, we'll see those games. And they were, to be fair, defensively, they were just formidable. They were like the pair of them were just like beasts at the back. You mentioned earlier about Van Dijk, and I don't even think he can hold a candle to either Rio or Vidic in their prime. I think they were significantly better defenders. Rob, yourself?
If I had to put my neck on the block and say pure defending centre-back partnership, for me, it's probably going to be Adams and Keown or Adams and Bold.
No, that's a good shout as well.
Fair shout.
Because
I mean,
they were
not
footballing centre halves, in fairness, but they were pure defenders. It was, just keep the ball out of the back of the net, protect the goalkeeper at all costs, and get it
when
down.
In doubt.
Just put it in Rosette. They were pure thoroughbred defenders. That was it. They weren't footballing defenders like a Rio Ferdinand or like a Ricardo Carvalho, perhaps, who
forgot about him. What a player he was! What a player he was!
Him and John Terry under Mourinho, another fantastic partnership. I think you've got to probably put them in contention as well.
18 goals they conceded in that season.
Exactly.
Only 18 goals. That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people forget about those two, in fairness. But yeah, I would go, let's say, pure defending centre backs. I'd go Keown and Adams or Bold and Adams, whichever partnership. It's up to you. Pays your money, takes your choice.
Yeah, definitely.
Fair shout. So I'm going to just a little bit before we move into West Ham for this season. I've got a few notes written down here, and I know, Andy, you've got some bits as well.
Yeah.
This was a season where none of the top 6 managers, and to be fair, not much has changed over the years, but none of the top 6 managers were actually English managers.
Yeah.
The first English manager, or the most successful English manager in this season, was actually Peter Reid at Sunderland, finishing 7th. The others were non-English managers. City were actually relegated. They were a newly promoted team, Manchester City. They were relegated, who in the space of 6 seasons, up until this season we're doing, have been relegated 3 times and promoted twice. Oh, how the times have changed, boys. And also Coventry City got relegated this season, and Coventry City had spent 34 seasons, 34 consecutive and successive seasons in the top flight, in the top division of football, they were finally relegated. And I think that has something to do on here anyway with what we're going to talk about now. Like I say, the notable transfers. So we've covered Rio, and I kind of digressed as we always do. Coventry sold Robbie Keane to Inter Milan for 17.5 million, which again is a fair chunk of change, boys. 17.5 million. But they replaced him with who? Who did they replace him with? Can you think?
What, Coventry?
Yep, Coventry replaced Robbie with who? Go on, Andy, your hands up.
Craig Bellamy.
It was ex-Hammer Craig Bellamy. And they spent 8.3 million on him.
I know.
8.3 million. Sharky got it as well in the chat.
Well done.
Man U made a significant signing. Any ideas who their major signing was for this season? Gatesy?
Mark Bosnich.
No. Right position, wrong player.
You don't mean Massimo Taibbi, do you?
No. He did come in this season. Actually, I think he went out this season, actually.
I know.
Go on.
Barthez.
It was.
That's why I was doing that. Did you see me?
I did. Well, I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if you were doing that or if you were doing Freddie Canute.
Oh yeah.
He joined for 10.5 million quid. Again, not bad for a keeper of what turned out to be his stature, to be fair. Newcastle signed someone for 9.4 million. Now, this blows my mind because I didn't even remember this fella. Didn't even remember it. Gatesy, any ideas?
What position?
Striker.
Ooh. No. I was going to say Stefan Givash, but I think he was a few years earlier.
Yes, he was.
Striker.
I'll give you a clue. He was signed from Wimbledon.
What's his bloody name? Cole Court.
It was indeed. Gatesy's in there. Bosh. Sharky and Kent with Ferguson. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was Carl Court for 9.4 million. Right, Ipswich. We said earlier, limited budget. Limited budget. Sharky, we're going to come to that because I know the answer to that. So he ain't going to be able to. Miles is going to be covering that, and he ain't going to be able to screw me over because I know that one. Ipswich, with their limited budget, spent a £6 million lump.
I think I know it.
Go on. Your hand's gone up. I can't see Gatesy's hand, so it's his fault.
Is it Hariderson?
It was Herman Hariderson.
I'm on form.
It's on fire. Big bit of money for a team newly promoted back then. I know nowadays with teams that are getting promoted are spending 20, 25 million on players. Fulham I think just spent £15 million on someone. Borough, Middlesbrough. Gatesy, I'm going to give you this one. Borough spent 10.9 million on a centre back.
Ooh.
From a fellow Premier League club who qualified for Europe this season via the Intertoto Cup.
Ooh.
I think I know.
You bloody wait a minute, Mr. Miles.
And I'm not cheating, by the way. I'm not cheating.
Hang on. Gareth Southgate.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I was going to... No. Ugo Ekiog.
Boom to the man at the bottom of the screen.
The other one.
Yeah. I was umming and ahhing between it. As soon as Gatesy said that one, I knew.
Chelsea made a huge statement with his signing. 20.2 million. Gatesy, I'm going to let you go first. Stop this prick at the bottom of the screen taking up all the accolades. He's
Position?
rocked up. Striker.
Ooh, hang on.
And he will be mentioned momentarily again in the video.
Jorge Andre Flo?
No, he left Chelsea this season.
Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
It was Jimmy
Well
Floyd.
done,
Kent's in there as well. Kent's dropped it. Well done, Kent. Villa, same position. Villa signed a striker for £12.9 million. I'm going to give the guys in the chat, I'm going to give Kent and Sharky a shot at this first.
Yep.
£12.9 million on a striker. Aston Villa helped propel them to the Intertoto Cup and obviously then into Europe as well. Oh, look, he don't let you down, does he, old Kent? Kent's in there. Juan Pablo Angel. Good player. I liked him. I thought he was a good player.
Is he Colombian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he quite worked at Villa, sadly.
Yeah.
No, Okay, this one absolutely rocks me, and I can't believe they spent £15.75 million. Arsenal on another striker. £15.75 million. Milesy, go on.
Sylvain Wiltord.
Was about 15 million quid, nearly 16 million quid.
I actually liked him though. He won in the title
with Reyes. Not a bad start.
Yeah.
Well, of course, he signed for Arsenal on the back of Euro 2000 when he scored the goal.
Yes.
No, he didn't score the golden goal. He scored the equaliser, if I remember rightly. I think it was Trezeguet that got the golden goal, didn't he, against Italy?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
What a team that France team was, though. That was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Scary stuff. Very scary. I'll leave us till last. Yeah. Spurs, again, another striker. Christ. Spurs signed whom for £16.2 million, a striker. Buds.
I think I know the answer.
Ken, I remember that. I remember that player, Luke Nillis. He was the one that he racked his leg around Richard Wright's foot, didn't he? When he came out to clear, keeper came out to clear it, and he went to kick it, and he kind of wrapped. His leg was like a J around his foot.
Really?
That was that just after the David Boost? Well,
David Boost was about 95, 96.
Oh, was it? It's just that I compare those two because they were fucking awful injuries.
Yeah.
The Boost one, was it against Man U, and he ended up... Yeah. Schmeichel ended up throwing up in the goal area, didn't he, when he saw the bone protruding through the stock. Tottenham, striker.
Sergei Rebrov.
When you look and they signed Rebrov for 16.2 million, and you consider the pedigree that man came with, and then you look back and you go, well, Arsenal only played £500,000 less for still Sylvain Wiltord. You kind of go, wait a minute. But then you look at what we signed, and our record signing for this season, our biggest outlay of a transfer fee, £5 million for the King. Gatesy, the King. What am I talking about?
£5 million
on a striker, West Ham. Yes, the King.
This season, you sure?
Yes.
I was going to say because I'm looking on Wikipedia and there's no £5 million striker.
Cheating bastard.
Well,
I actually got this off of Transfermarkt, and it said that this was our big signing for this season.
Okay, go on.
And you've now got me questioning myself, so I'm now going back onto the West Ham page.
Who is it?
It was the King. King Canute. Freddie.
I think you'll find he was the previous season, wasn't he?
That's not what it says on Transfermarkt.
He was on loan. He was on loan, wasn't he? 6
months. There you go, Rob. No.
Oh, it's not. Oh well, whatever.
Yeah. Bloody Wikipedia.
Ken says I'm wrong. I will bow.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't care. Listen, I'm going by Transfermarkt. Blame them. West Ham's squad this season was a massive 31 players. That's madness. And when you consider, when I talk about one of my games later, some of the players that played in one of my games scares the shit out of me when we had 31 players.
Yeah.
But they are cult heroes, and I would say, Rob, when we get to my game, I can see we were talking about the Tevez Di Canio Declan Rice, Mark Noble debate, weren't we, about where they stand on cult heroes, legends, etc. There's a couple of players in one of my games that I consider to be cult heroes, but we'll cover that
You
a
did
bit
say
later.
cult, CULT,
Uh,
yes?
Yes, with the L.
Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure for
So-
anyone listening on medium wave.
I'm pretty sure this season was still covered by 1548 on Capital Gold. I'm pretty sure this season was still covered by what was it?
Jonathan Pearce.
Jonathan Pearce.
Yeah. Oh God, do you remember that? How amazing was that? I was on the chat show. Anyway, stop talking shit because we've got a lot to get through, and we're already 25 minutes in, and we've covered fuck all. Andy, you got some tidbits of your own.
Yeah.
For
So
some interaction.
So was it Sharky who mentioned the top goal scorers? I'll start with that first. The leading goal scorer in that year, I'm guessing you all know because he got mentioned earlier, but for people who want to guess, Duke, who was the top goal scorer that season?
I believe he hit 23.
Yeah.
And it was James. It was Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
What a player. What a player.
Great player. Great player.
Very good player.
Great player. Who's he managing now? Was he manager at QPR recently, or not recently? Last few years.
I think
or so?
Burton as well, wasn't it? I don't know where he is now. Yeah, no,
Good player. But it just shows you great players don't always become great managers. There's a guy at Everton that's proving that at the minute.
Yeah. This mate.
Point. he's still the manager of Burton, apparently.
Oh, fair enough.
Really? Fair play to the man.
Right. This may cause some stuff. Is the second highest goal scorer was. I'll give everyone a clue to make it not as hard. He was a part of the Ipswich side, which finished in the European places. Can anyone guess who the striker was, bagging 19 Premier League goals that season?
Ooh. Marcus Stewart, or am I a bit too soon?
Well done, mate. Well done, mate.
We were interested in him. We were interested in him at one point. There was a
well done, Sharky.
Sharky's in there and all. Yeah, no, we were interested in him. If I remember rightly, either this season or the season before. I think Harry wanted to sign Marcus Stewart, and basically, I think it was 3.5 million, and we were told no, it's too much money.
Yeah, I don't know what he'd done after that, to be fair, but yeah.
I think he might have been at Huddersfield for a spell. I've got a vague recollection.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise. The Frenchman from Arsenal, Thierry Henry, bagging 17 goals, and he was joined by an Australian superstar who scored 4 goals against Liverpool. Who was it?
Australian? For Arsenal?
That's the only one that cut.
No, not for Arsenal. An Australian against Liverpool. 4 goals.
You're going to do. Oh, good shout.
He signed obviously for Leeds that season from Celtic.
4-3.
This was his first year. Yeah, that was his season. Oh, well done, Kent. And then it was joined by English sensation, so you can call Michael Owen with 16 goals, Teddy Sheringham with 15, Emil Heskey with 14, Kevin Phillips again with 14 after his golden boot from the season before. James Beattie also getting the 10 with 10 Premier League goals, and a Middlesbrough striker. Can anyone guess for him scoring 12 Premier League goals?
It isn't the time of Fabrizio Ravanelli, is it?
No,
he's left by then. What? But it's Jesus! Whoa!
His first name is Alan, but it's spelt different.
Oh, it's
Alan
He's another great player.
Yeah.
Ken's coming with Massimo Macaroni.
Oh, I remember him as well.
I remember him. Sorry, Andy. I was going to say, I remember him playing for the under-21s against England and scoring on a Wednesday night, I think it was, or a Monday night, and then actually starred for the Italian senior team 3 days later and scored against England in that as well. That's a big bald fella. He was lanky.
Okay, right. So I won't bore you. Many players scored hat-tricks in that season, but the one noticeable ones was Emil Heskey and Les Verdam scoring a perfect hat-trick that season.
Right.
Yeah, and As I mentioned earlier, Mark Viduka got 4 against Liverpool. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank also scored 4 for Chelsea against Coventry in the 6-1 win. And surprise, surprise, an Arsenal midfield player got a hat-trick against Newcastle. Who was it?
Not the legendary Ray Parlour.
It was, my friend.
I was going to say, Parlour. Literally, you bastard beat me to it.
The Romford Pele. The Romford Pele. Yeah.
The West Ham fan as well, isn't he?
Yeah. And surprise, surprise, you're probably going to guess probably at least 2 of them. Who was the top assists for the Premier League that season? The top was 12 assists, was the one and only.
Ryan Giggs?
No.
Okay.
Mark Overmars.
Nope.
I think he'd left by then, hadn't he?
No, he might have done, actually, yeah.
England captain.
Yeah.
Beckham.
Yeah, Beckham.
Yeah, that would have all been corners and free kicks, wouldn't they? Yeah. That's all he could do.
Ex-Newcastle and West Ham midfielder with 10.
Ex-Newcastle and West Ham midfielder with 10. Who was he playing for?
Let's see if the chat gets it.
Who was he playing for at the time?
Newcastle.
Oh, he was playing for Newcastle.
I've got a name in mind.
He joined West Ham later on in his career.
I've got a name in mind. Yeah.
Good chat. Third with 9, 3 of them. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, Thierry Henry, and Vladimir Smitsa for Liverpool.
Oh.
Joint 6th place is Ryan Giggs and Graham Stewart from Charlton. And 8th is Stephen Clements, Paolo Di Canio with 7 assists, and Hassan, I can't even say that, Kakaleo.
Cashlaw.
Okay, yeah, my pronunciation.
Who did he play for?
Southampton.
Oh, bloody hell.
And the last thing from me is obviously the awards you mentioned. Monthly awards. It takes some doing, considering the players that were there. Notable that Stuart Pearce in February got Player of the Month for the Premier League, considering his age, his first season with the club as well. And the other awards were Premier League Player of the Season was Patrick Vieira, PFA's Player of the Year was Teddy Sheringham, Young Player Steven Gerrard, and Football of the Year was Teddy Sheringham. Now this is another quick trivia. It's the Team of the Season. Duke, you mentioned him earlier, the goalkeeper from France.
Oh, Fabian.
Yeah. This will be a surprise. The right back for the Team of the Season. Can anyone guess who it may be?
What team?
It's not in the top 6. It's not in the top 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he's Irish.
When you say not in the top 6, are you talking about not in the top 6 as far as the top 6 today is concerned?
No. In that season.
Ben.
Okay.
That was
I was going to say Gary Kelly.
Yeah, that's where I was. That was exactly where I was going. These great minds.
Well done, Sharky.
Oh, Sharky's in there.
Okay.
And Kent. And look, over them.
2 pairings from Manchester United. Can you guess the 2 who made the Team of the Season?
Centre backs.
Yep.
So that would be. Oh Christ! Who was centre back for Man United at the time?
Yeah. Try and get the other one. This will be hard.
Not Ronnie Johnson.
No.
Pallister was done by now, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Gary Pallister was done. Steve Bruce was done.
Centre back. Who was Stam's partner? It was because Ferdinand hadn't gone there by then.
I was very surprised with this.
Kent's coming with Wes Brown.
Well done, Kent.
Really?
Oh, the man.
Okay.
Brazilian left back.
Arsenal. Oh, what's his fucking name? Silvinho.
Well done.
Nice, Gatesy.
Midfield 3. Well, it's 4, but sorry, the midfield 4. They play for both of them. 2 for Manchester United. Can you guess who they are?
Giggs and Beckham.
Giggs is one of them.
Goals.
No.
Keane.
Yep. One from
And the
Arsenal.
other two,
Vieira and Steven Gerrard. And the strikers.
Henry,
Yep.
Shearer.
Hasselbank.
No.
What, both of us know?
Yep.
Oh,
Henry
shit.
is. Henry is. Sorry.
Henry is.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I said Hasselbank.
No. That's
And I
even though
said-
he's top goal scorer, he didn't make it.
And I said Shearer.
No.
Then I'm going to go with.
Sheringham.
Yep.
Does
So
it really?
Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank was top goal scorer and didn't like Song up there with the goals and still didn't make the team of the season. So it's mad, isn't it?
Wow.
When you think, yeah.
That is crazy.
Right, gents, I won't bore it for too long. At the time, we probably interact with the crowd, so this will probably be just for you two. But you guys, for next week, you can probably do the homework. This is, of course, we'll do the kit. We'll mention the team. I don't know whether Duke, do you want to do the first half of the kit manufacturer and Gatesy do the shirt sponsor, and then you swap for the second half, maybe? See if you can guess them.
Go on then.
So Duke, Arsenal.
What? Kit manufacturer?
Yeah.
Nike.
Yep. Gatesy, do you remember the shirt sponsor?
I think, was it Sega?
Yeah, and there was also another one which caused controversial because they had two.
Well, on their away, they had Dreamcast, didn't they?
That's correct, mate. Aston Villa, Duke. Oh, remember? Oh, this is bringing back some memories. Begins with D.
Oh, Theodora.
Well done. Gatesy, can you remember the sponsor? This is going to be hard, but you probably might get it.
Sorry, who's this for? Villa?
Villa, yeah.
Was it NTL?
Wow, you're on form, Gatesy. You're on form.
I'll tell you why I remember, because 2001 was the year of the Lions tour to Australia, and their sponsors were NTL as well.
Oh, okay. Duke, Bradford.
I know this one.
Go on
this one. This was Essex, because they had the same thing when we played them with the whole Canio debacle. It was Essex, yeah.
Gatesy, if you get this is impressive. Bradford City.
If he gets this, because you've said that, I'm not having it.
It was a number, because obviously this was the year after the 5-4 game, but I think it was the same sponsor.
Yeah.
The previous year.
Yeah.
All I can remember, it was initials and a number.
Yeah.
But it's gone.
It's hard. JCT 600.
Okay. Yeah.
Fucking hell was that? What were they for?
I know. Charlton Athletic. French. Oh, it looks like a French name. Beginning with L.
Oh.
It looks French.
Oh, you knob. I can see it. The logos. Le Coq Sportif.
Yeah.
Their logo's the same as the Spurs. The bird on the ball.
Yeah. Gatesy shirt sponsor.
Well, the only reason I know this is because I've done my due diligence on the match that I've chosen, and one of the matches I've chosen is Charlton Athletic. I'm looking at the footage. It's Redbus.
Well done, man. Well done. I won't go too long.
Well.
Oh wow. I won't go too thingy. We'll select some other ones. Chelsea.
Me.
Yeah.
Not been done by Adidas. Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
The bro of the
Yeah. Gatesy, sponsor.
Auto glass repair. Auto glass replace.
Right, we're going to switch roles now. Gatesy, Leeds United. Who are the kit manufacturer?
They got to the Champions League semi-final here, didn't they?
Yeah.
Nike.
Yeah. Duke, do you remember the sponsor?
Who's the team, sorry? Leeds.
Leeds.
Yes, I do, because I remember watching this. This was Strongbow.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this. Yeah.
We'll do two more. Let's have a look. Southampton, Gatesy. Sorry.
Oh, excuse me. I do apologise, guys.
No.
Was it Sanderson?
No.
Oh, wait, no. Sorry. Am I doing sponsor?
The manufacturer.
Oh, Jesus. Southampton.
This is fucking mind blowing. I don't know how they got away with this. I've thrown you under the bus with this one, mate. I do apologise.
Southampton. No idea.
The kit sponsor is called Saints.
Really?
Yeah, that's their kit sponsor.
Hang on, there was someone else that did that, I think, as well. They made their own kit.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was.
And Duke, the sponsor, can you guess?
Fucking no. Scottish Widows.
Friends Provident. He was close. And we're going to do the last one. Newcastle United. Gatesy, sponsor. Kit manufacturer, sorry.
I'm thinking it's either Adidas or it's Umbro.
Adidas. Duke, sponsor.
My granddad and my uncles had this shirt, and it was sponsored by the fantastically rotten and horrible, disgusting alcoholic beverage, Newcastle Brown. Newquay Brown Ale. Yeah,
that's correct. I've just realised the time. We'll probably mix them up each week. That's it done. I think we should probably get on to the football. Well, that was good. It's good. Like you said, we'll say it was speed. Yeah. And sorry for people in the chat who were commenting, but the time we would have waited for people to comment on it, I think we would have been here for another hour or so.
I'll tell you what we'll do then. Next week, what we'll do is the three of us will sit down towards the end of this week, or maybe at some point over the weekend. Yeah. We'll come together with, or Andy, if you want to ping them over, and myself or Rob. We'll put them in. We'll pin a message at the top of the chat before we start.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll pick maybe 10 teams from next season, and they can have a little look themselves and see if.
Because I want to interact with the chat, but I realise it's a bit of a ball ache as well when it's doing it.
Well, you're waiting for 5 people tonight to comment. Yeah.
But no, thanks for people who commented, though. I appreciate it. It's all part of the fun.
All right, boys. We are like Andy says, we're 42 minutes in, and we're about to start out. So this is the reason we went to 2 games, boys, because we do digress. And as it is, we're probably going to be another hour and a half video. Becca, awful. So, Gatesy, do you want to start, or should we give it to Andy for his first of his 2 games this season?
Yeah, I don't mind. Let Milesy crack on.
Cool.
Milesy, what's your first game then, sir?
My first game is Coventry City versus West Ham United at Highfield Road, 23rd of September 2000.
As if by magic, Gatesy goes bang, and up comes the whatever this is. I don't know.
As you can see there, the goal scorers were Di Canio, Joko and Lampard, but I'll slowly move on in a second to how the goals were scored. But West Ham United lined it up with Shaka Hislop, Rio Ferdinand, Stuart Pearce, Igor Stimac, Nigel Winterburn, Joe Cole, Frank Lampard, Captain Steve Lomas, Sinclair, and Di Canio and Canute. Notably in this was Michael Carrick replacing Rio Ferdinand after 13 minutes, Steve Potts for Trevor Sinclair, and the most importantly was Kaba Diawara, who gets a mention for the wrong reasons in my match report. As we mentioned there, also remember him, Mustafa Hadji for Coventry. Do you remember that player as well?
Good player.
Yeah, other good players as well. Former West Ham relegator Gary Breen, who comes to us, Craig Bellamy, and David Thompson. He rings a bell, but I can't remember. Did he play for Blackburn or something?
I think is he the same one that played for Liverpool as well?
Oh, maybe. Yeah,
I think maybe that might be why. Yeah.
But no, as you can see there, gent. So when you sort of look at it, I think we were probably playing wing backs, so to speak, there as well.
Yeah.
Really, when you look at the system, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lomas used to play a lot of wing back position, didn't he, as well? And Sinclair, they used to alternate from what I remember, anyway. So, but yeah, as you can see there, I'll get you in with the main talking point. Was the first goal was Joe Cole at the ball in the middle of the pitch, plays the ball to the left, and Freddie Canute was battling with the Coventry defender. Surprise, surprise, Canute come out with the ball, running into the middle of the box, looking for the West Ham run, and Coventry defender miscontrolled. And who do you want there? Mr. Paolo Di Canio, one touch, and then the right foot outside boot in the bottom corner. And this is what I love when you watch the highlights. Gents, I know Declan's done it a few times, but how nice is it when a player kisses the badge and Mr. Di Canio kissing the badge towards the West Ham fans in the far corner. There we are, perfect start. 2 minutes later, long ball up, Freddie Canute. This is the one thing, gents, and I've got a Tottenham fan at work, and he says it how much he loved Canute. Canute, the ball just seemed to stick to him when the ball was played up to him. Do you remember that as well? It was just ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was brilliant at that. He brings the ball down, brings Lampard into play. First time ball out to Di Canio. Di Canio doing what he does, running with the ball, then running to the byline, chipping the ball to the back post. Coventry didn't defend, and Joe Cole takes it down on his chest and volleys it. 2 goals in 2 minutes for young Joe Cole. Then the third goal, I think this is a very good build-up, and this is what Trevor Sinclair done all his West Ham career. Running on the right, taking players out of the game, and then unleashing the ball behind the defence. Canute running in behind. Lampard, as he's done for the whole of his career, he started at West Ham, Canute playing the ball just in front of the 6-yard box, and a tap-in. And as we've sort of said, the season wasn't great, and it was flowing, and we managed to get the goals, and we come away with 3-0 victory.
I actually remember some of the goals from that, mate.
Yeah, good goals, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's strange because some of the names, like you say there, you know, Lampard made a career out of arriving late, be it on the edge of the box or breaking into the box. A bit like Big Tom season before last, Suchek arriving late into the box or on the edge, and you know, as I say, it's where he started. That's where Lampard learned that, you know, that he made most use of when he went to Chelsea. Let's not mess around.
Yeah.
No, I had a little look through the season, and I mean, to be fair, when you consider just what we ended the season on, as in like stats wise, there's only 10 games that we can pick if you want that were. Oh no, it's not. Is it? It's 10 wins throughout the season. You know, 16 defeats. As we say, we're doing 2 each. It's quite difficult to find, especially league games anyway, to find those that are going to jump out at you that either Gatesy or myself haven't picked up on. Oh, I mean,
yeah.
Especially in this sort of season. I mean, we ended up on a goal difference of -5, 42 points. I remember that game quite well, my man.
The reason why I remember it so much was my mum and dad had it on video, and that's what sort of got me into it. Do you remember Harry Redknapp? He'd done a video called 6 of the Best when the stadium announcer went to his house and the games were Mets, Man United 2-2, this game, the 5-0, and the 4-3 Sheffield Wednesday from the season before when he picked his 6 best games, and this is the reason why it just stuck to me back then.
Memory.
Yeah.
Fair play, mate. I like it. Good game to start us off with. Gatesy, let's go with yours then, my man.
Well, I hope you're going.
Actually, may I? Are we seeing, obviously, towards the end of the previous Hammertime drop, we saw you. We heard a few audition tapes for you. Still,
yeah.
in Tyler's job.
Not
we
today.
not got this time around? Oh,
no,
okay,
I
enough.
haven't had time, obviously, because we only sort of firmed up the details earlier on today, so I've just not had the time. But I have an idea, and I'm hoping if people are watching live or if people watch this at a later stage, if they want, I'm about to put it in the chat, that there is the YouTube link for the game that I'm about to cover. But I'll just get the details up first off. So this game that I'm going to cover off is, hang on a moment, let me just get the right buttons. Okay, there we go. Now, this was a rare away victory at Elland Road, Leeds United, who was later on this season would go on to contest in the Champions League semi-final. You look at that team that Leeds had, it's mightily impressive. Paul Robinson, he was actually their number 2 goalkeeper at this stage. He was back up to Nigel Martin.
How good was Nigel Martin? Sorry to interrupt. How good he was saying girls when
very good goalkeeper. Very good goalkeeper. But Paul Robinson was just coming through at that point. But Martin was injured, so hence he was in between the sticks at this point. Ian Hart and Gary Kelly. You may or may not know this, but Gary Kelly was Ian Hart's uncle. They were uncle and nephew.
And was it Ian Hart that had the absolute peg on him?
Yeah, left
foot.
He could open a can of beans, that fella, honestly.
Yeah, outstanding.
Danny Mills, Lucas Radaby, Dominic Matteo, Eric Bakker, Lee Bowyer, Olivier Dacour, Alan Smith, and Mark Viduka. And then you look at our lineup, which was Shaka Hislop in goal, Rio Ferdinand, this was actually Rio's last match in a West Ham shirt before he went to Leeds United. Ian Pearce, Stuart Pearce, Nigel Winterburn, Michael Carrick, Frank Lampard, Steve Lomas, Trevor Sinclair, the mighty Kaba Diawara, and Frederick Canute.
Look at the amount of the amount of British home nation flags across them two teams as well.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Just pointing that out now, when you consider that we're not too far away from covering the season where Arsenal didn't start an English player or a home nations player in their starting lineup. We're not far, either we're just past it. We're not far from that season. You look at how many home nations, and I'll include Lomas in there as well. You know, you look at the amount of home nations on there. It's madness. You consider where we're at now, and the fact that Lucas Radaby, if I remember rightly, was he not the South African international side captain as well?
He was. Yeah, and you look also substitutes that were introduced. Darren Huckabee, the legendary Darren Huckabee. At least he was as far as that American sort of like television network was concerned. They thought he was the second coming of Diego Maradona, apparently.
Oh, would it? Brilliant.
He came on at the interval for Eric Bakker, and we had Steve Potts, who came on in the 72nd minute for Ian
Mr.
Pearce.
Reliable.
Yeah, very, very underrated player, it has to be said. Anyway, so if any of you guys that are watching have put that YouTube link into YouTube, I'm just going to hit play, and if you guys want to watch this game along with me, you can. The ball is played through from Leeds United. It's charging through. I'm not too sure who that is. He plays it through. Alan Smith's got the ball. He shifts out to the right, cross in, and Mark Viduka's on the back stick. He plays it across, and Alan Smith gets on it on the end of it, but puts it over the bar. And West Ham escape with their clean sheet intact at this point. But Leeds United, I mean, you look at their forward line, and all of these players. Let's have it right. All of these players were young players. They were improving. They were massively impressive team. West Ham on the attack now. Kaba Diawara, guess what? It's saved by Robinson because it's straight at him. Because Kaba Diawara, if you never saw him play, ladies and gentlemen, in a West Ham shirt, he was useless. He was useless, honestly. I think to call him a professional footballer was probably a bit of a stretch, but It was a good save by Robinson. I believe this is the goal. So the long ball's been flicked on. Canute's got the ball. He plays it out to Sinclair on the right hand side. He crosses it, and it's a rather unorthodox header from a left back. He gets his head onto it and he headers it into the turf, and it's sort of like it bounces up and it ends up in the back of the net. And obviously the West Ham fans behind the goal go crazy. We're 1-0 up away at Leeds. As I say, wasn't the goal scorer you'd have expected, but they all count. And as I say, it was Trevor Sinclair that flights the ball. He's on the right-hand side. He plays it across the penalty area. It gets... nobody can get their head on it before it gets to Nigel Winterburn. And as I say, he just flings himself at it. It goes into the turf. Paul Robinson's going the wrong way, and it's 1-0 to West Ham. Going into the interval, this is literally on the 45th minute, so it was a good time to score. Now we're sort of like we're on the attack in the second half, down our left-hand side, but then the player's robbed. I think that's Diawara possibly. But then it comes to Stuart Pearce, ever reliable. He's waiting for someone to show. He plays it down the left-hand channel. It's flicked on, and Canute's got the ball. He's charging through. He takes a shot, and Paul Robinson gets his hands to it, and away it goes. And I think that's Steve Lomas there. He's flicked it forwards, but it ends up going out for a goal kick to Leeds United. Yeah, just looking at that shot here from Canute, he gets his shot away past Danny Mills. Probably Paul Robinson doesn't see it till quite late, but he makes a good save. He flings himself to his right, gets two strong hands to it, pushes it away out of harm's way. And we move forwards into the second half a little bit here, and Leeds are now on the attack. Alan Smith gets to the ball, and he curls the ball past Shaka Hislop, who's diving to his left, but it goes for Leeds United, the wrong side of the post. For West Ham, it's the right side where we wanted it. But again, this is an Alan Smith that was, because he had a bad injury, didn't he, at Manchester United?
He did, yeah.
And at Manchester United, they converted him. They moved him from a striker to a midfielder, from what I remember. But I mean, this was a guy that he was playing really well at this point. And like I say, to go to Elland Road, it's never easy. To go to an Elland Road team, to a Leeds United team that at this stage were one of the up-and-coming teams of the Premier League. They were one of the up-and-coming teams of European football. And we went there and got a 1-0 win. It was no mean feat, to be fair.
I mean, I just watched along with you there, Rob. And something that I bring up quite often.
It was Sharky, yes, indeed.
Especially last season, okay. I mentioned something about Mr. Ben Rama quite often last season, pulling out of the challenges, bottling. That first attempt there by Diawara. The 50-50 with Radaby and Michael Carrick, a young Michael Carrick. I mean, Radaby was an absolute monster of a player. He was a beast. And for a young Michael Carrick to go in on a 50-50 and not bottle it, or even, not go in, he went in wholeheartedly on that 50-50 or win the ball to put it out from to obviously Diawara there for the shot. And it just, it just makes you wonder. He was, what was he, 18, 19, I think then, maybe, give or take?
Yeah. Rio?
No, Carrick.
Carrick, sorry, yes. He would have.
He was still a youngster. Look at the state of that kit.
Mm.
It's too much yellow.
It actually looks like a pint of Strombo.
I'll tell you what, it's one of the reasons I remember it being a Strongbow kit. It is.
Useless piece of information, gents.
We're always full of them. Go on, Gatesy.
Do you know why Leeds United play in white? because it wasn't originally their kit. It wasn't originally their home kit anyway.
Go on.
Well, the story goes that Don Revie went to Leeds United as manager in the early days. And I think, if I remember rightly, they were playing in blue and yellow sort of like quarters, kind of like Blackburn sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he looked at Leeds United and his idea was that he wanted them to be like the English Real Madrid. So he just said, right, we're playing in white. Done. Now, could you imagine a manager coming into a club nowadays? You imagine someone coming in to West Ham. David Moyes gets sacked next summer. We've had a crap season and the knives are out, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying this is what I hope, but let's just suppose, world of make-believe for a discussion.
Yeah.
And we get a manager that comes in with all these ideas about what he's going to do. And he turns around and says, but I want us to emulate Real Madrid. Okay, that's great. Lofty ambitions, aim for the stars and all that. But I'm going to change your kit, guys, from claret and blue to all white. There'd be an absolute mutiny.
Oh, without a doubt, mate. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I just got off my chair and got cramp. I'm getting old.
I'll tell you what, though.
Just off my chair and got cramp.
I'll tell you what I noticed, though, is like what you said, is the commitment of the players. Like what you mentioned, we wouldn't be able to get away. That'll probably be a yellow card now, Duke. Carrick's tackle.
Yeah. When you look at it.
But the one thing is like you said, is the fullbacks actually getting in the box? Like I know. Like as you went on, you had the likes of Ashley Cole getting the odd goal here and there, but now the modern day fullback, but the actual fullback being in the back post, you never really saw that, did you? Like in that time period either.
Not back then, no.
Yeah.
Not back then at all.
And what a veteran Winterburn was, though.
Oh, I loved it. I mean,
we signed him for an undisclosed fee, so we don't actually know how much we forked out for him officially.
I thought it was a free.
No, there was a fee involved, but it was never disclosed.
I tell you what, if that was us now, we'd be doing our fucking nut, boys. Signing a player on the
I think
back end of his career. That's what I mean. We'd be crying now as fans, wouldn't we? Like we'd be doing our absolute fucking nut. But then saying that, if we signed Cristiano Ronaldo, he's in his 120s now, isn't he? I think so. Yeah.
But you say that, Duke, because I know obviously you was quite critical of Cristiano Ronaldo. But did you know that last season in the Premier League, his goals were directly responsible for more points to his team than any other player?
I don't doubt that, but he was still shit, and that's why they were still awful. I mean, I stand by my comment. I didn't think he was going to do much, and the proof in the pudding was it wasn't just him that didn't do much. It was the rest of the team. He could have been responsible for proving me wrong as such, but unfortunately, he wasn't. Unfortunately, he wasn't.
He was the second top goal scorer in the Premier League, wasn't he?
Still don't care. He's still an old. Anyway, stroppy bastard. Don't like it. Don't care.
It proves the old mantra that I like to sort of believe in, and I know there's always exceptions to the rule. Never go back.
Yeah. Right. Well, Cristiano Ronaldo and the comments of him and his current club or his latest club lead us on to my game. Now, I've gone slightly different reasons for my games, but I've actually chosen my first game is the FA Cup game away at Old Trafford. Let's all do the Barthez and all that malarkey. And there's part of me in this that I've chosen this game because it was, for me, one of the biggest games of the season. For me, it was it's got some epic memories to it. In the build up to the game, you had people questioning whether Di Canio was going to play. you had people questioning whether, he doesn't turn up for the big away games, etc., etc. And, you look at that lineup there. Now, there's one player missing, and it's a bit like Gatesy. If you could just scroll down a bit, I just want to see the bench. On the bench, keep going. If it's there, if there's any on the bench. No, see, it's only showing the two subs. Well, there's a gentleman in there who we got on loan. And he only played a couple of games for us, handful of games. Hanu Tahinen, right? Absolute monster of a player, beast. I loved him. I thought he was brilliant. Now, it might be just because I remember him from this game and there's that love affair because we beat United. But him and Hayden Fox this season, for me, kind of like, I said to you earlier, we were talking about cult heroes. Well, for me, Hanu Tahinen, because of this game, is a cult hero. Because he was part of I mean, you look at the rest of that side, and there's some legendary West Ham names in there. Carrick, Cole, Di Canio, Lampard. Footballing legends like Christian Daly, Stuart Pearce. Nigel Winterburn. We actually set up looking at this with it was like a 3-5-2. But with the two wing backs, obviously with Schemmel and Winterburn, and then you kind of had Pearce, Daly, and Tahinen as a back three. Now, my memory serves, and I've got the game on my laptop underneath the screen here. You look at that Man United side, and we weren't given a hope in hell's chance of coming away from Old Trafford with anything, with a win.
I remember, Duke. I think it was Des Lynam because it was live on ITV. I think even Ali McCoist was in the studio and two others. I can't remember, and they were just saying how many Man United were going to score from what I remember.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we weren't given a hope in hell's chance. Now, I mean, we had obviously Carrick, Cole. They were still young lads. Lampard wasn't much older than the pair of them. Now, if I remember rightly, Shaka Hislop was nursing some sort of injury to his kicking leg, or maybe even his standing leg. But he was he had trouble kicking from goal kicks, free kicks, whatever, in and around. He couldn't take them. So I think it was being left to one of our defenders to take them. Yes, Sharky, good shout. Happy 4th of July to all American cousins and anyone that joins on and watches. And we weren't given a hope in hell's chance, the kids and everything else. So, just watching this, Carrick goes close in the first half. I say he goes close. He kind of breaks forward, gets about 20, 25 yards out, cuts inside, beats a couple of players, goes back out onto the left peg. And he actually puts one about 4 yards wide. And it's unlucky. I mean, he does a couple of good jinks. He, kind of beats, I think it's Nicky Butt that he jinks one side of and then lets rip. And, it's 4 yards wide and probably, if I'm honest, the best that I thought we were going to muster in the entire game back then. I remember watching this at my old place of work, the Bull and Vic in Dartford. I remember watching this on a projector screen at the back end of the pub. I was one of one, actually. I was one of one West Ham fans in there. The rest of them were United. But one thing I do remember about this was the atmosphere. This was the first time I actually remember a game at Old Trafford where all you heard was the away fans. The bubbles and everything else. This was one of the first games I actually, if not the first game I remember this from. The next highlight on the video is a pass back to Hislop, and he makes an absolute pig's ear of it. Kind of goes to swing it. I think it's his left foot. Swings his left foot in it. I think it's Daly passes it back. He takes a swing at his left foot, and it kind of bobbles up and Tahinen has to come and clear it practically off the line. It wasn't even, that should have been 1-0. And we battled. I mean, Canute, Stam, Di Canio, you know, we gave them a bit of a torrid time, but we really didn't cause them much problems going forward. From what I remember, there's a Hislop save from a Beckham free kick, if I remember rightly. It was stuff back and forward, and then I think it was is it the 76th minute, Rob, the goal, and we break, and we all know the
I
joke
just
of left.
realised I answered you and then realised I was on mute. I'm sorry.
You're still on mute.
I wasn't
That's right.
ignoring you.
Oh, you're fine. We all know the let's all do the Bartes. Now, I'm just watching the highlight of it here, and it's an absolutely defence splitting pass from Canute. He literally cuts him, but it's the run from Di Canio because he kind of arcs his run, and he kind of goes offside, comes back onside, receives the ball on the edge of the box, and then obviously takes 2 or 3 steps into the box. But it's Canute. Canute puts his hand up like he's calling for offside, and then realises what's happening, and he's kind of shaking his hand like this, a gloved hand with short sleeve shirts on, which I still don't understand to this day. Not offside, and then obviously there's a bit of the mind games with Bartes and Di Canio as he kind of cuts in off the right hand side, and Bartes tries to put him off, but also, Bartes doesn't move. Bartes doesn't even try and make the save as Di Canio outside of it. Oh, he does actually. No, he goes down and he's blaming the referee, but he just kind of tucks it under his body outside of the right boot, slides into the fans because obviously we're in that corner. Slides into the fans, gives it the kiss. All the players come diving in. There's a young Joe Cole giving him a big old kiss on the cheek. The referee comes running over. All the players are there, and then as Di Canio turns away from the camera, he comes back and he goes, "I play at Old Trafford. I play at Old Trafford." He gives it all of that, the chest beat. Cut to the fans, and there's a young West Ham lad with his dad. He's kind of holding him aloft. He looks like the kid's crying, in a yellow coat, and it's. I just remember going absolutely batshit crazy. People not giving us any kind of hope in hell, and that last 15 minutes was very much a backs to the wall. To Heenan. I think Raggy Soma came on, didn't he, Gatesy, for Di Canio?
Yes, he did. Yeah, 89th minute.
And there's a young Craig Forrest coming off the bench celebrating with Di Canio. I say young Craig Forrest, he probably wasn't then. It was just. I think that was the start of me actually thinking that we could actually win the FA Cup that season. I know my next game is actually the reason we didn't. I actually really thought we were going to win the FA Cup that season. We followed that up with a 1-0 win at the Stadium of Light against Sunderland. I think it was Canute scored.
76th minute.
Yeah. And you just thought, our name's on the trophy this year. And then obviously we got the draw, and it wasn't to be, and that is actually my next game that I'm going to cover after this. So, the good memories for that game. Like I say, I was in the pub, my old place of work, watching the game, and good memories. Just certainly a game that I didn't expect us to get anything out of.
Definitely.
How old were you, Milesy, when that game took place? You couldn't have been much older than
So I was born in 91.
So you would have been 10, coming up on 10 years old.
Yeah. I remember sitting there in front of the telly, like you said, ITV, and literally watching it, and that was. I was into football. I was into football. When we done the last one, on my birthday when I was 8 years old, was when we beat Arsenal 2-1 when Di Canio flipped it over Keown. So as you can see, like when you it's yeah.
James, yeah, I remember that. He was awful for being offside. I mean, I'm right in thinking that we've had a lot of players that just don't like being onside. Antonio being one of them. he loves an offside flag, doesn't he? But no, I remember that. So Andy, game number 2. What have you got lined up for us, my man?
I've got a goal fest, and with Gatesy, the games all seem to be around that time. Mine's the 25th of November, and my game is the first game after Rio Ferdinand left. So obviously Gatesy had his last game. Now I've got the game after. But as you can see there, people, it's a goal fest. We're coming 3-2 winners, obviously coming from behind, and then eventually taking, and then getting the lead, and then drawing, and then getting the lead. But as you can see there from the starting 11, we had Xhaka in goal, Stuart Pearce, Igor Stimac, Nigel Winterburn, Lampard, Carrick, Lomas, Sinclair, Di Canio, the legend Kaba Diawara, and Freddie Canute. But when you look at the Southampton team, look at that, Wayne Bridge. Look how young he just proves the career what he had there, and of course James Beattie, in that 11 as well. I remember Mark Draper. He was around for quite a bit as well, and of course I only know him as I didn't know him as a player. I only know him as Brentford manager. Is obviously Mr. Rosler as well.
Scored a few goals for City.
Yeah,
I was going to say he joined Southampton from City this year, if my memory serves. Because City actually bought Paolo One Shot from us.
Oh yeah, they did.
As part of this season, £3.5 million. So yeah, I mean that was why Rosler joined Southampton. Yeah, and yeah, Sharky, Dean Richards, rest in peace, definitely, mate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that as well. He went to Tottenham, didn't he?
He did, yes.
Yeah, of course. Right, gents, I'll get involved with how the game went out. As I mentioned, this was the first game since Rio Ferdinand. So you could probably say this is probably why why crucial Rio is, because we actually make a big defensive mistake to start off with between Stimac and Hislop coming together, which the ball allowed a free header. I think it was James Beattie, so it was just in the right-hand side of the box probably just outside the 6-yard box, but with a header. But Steve Lomas managed to clear the ball off the line, so we got off lightly there. And then the Southampton goal. Corner comes in from the left-hand side, front post clearance from Sinclair, and Matt Oakley, it looks like a volley, but it looks like it is probably a half from about 30 yards and smashes it from the outside of the boot right into the corner. Xhaka Hislop, no chance. And honestly, gents, I probably should have put the link in what Gatesy done, but after the game, after we finish this, go and watch the highlights of that, and you'll just see that goal. Then Di Canio picks the ball up on the right-hand side. Good play with Sinclair. You know how he just does them wiggly runs, cuts in with his left foot and just over the crossbar. Then we get the goal. Surprise, surprise. Mr. Di Canio picks the ball up on the right, plays the ball out to Sinclair on the byline, one touch, crosses the ball in, and Freddie Canute beats his man at the near post, and the Southampton keeper gets the touch, but the power beats it into the bottom corner. Then we get our second goal of the game shortly after. Sinclair has the ball again on the right-hand side. It seems to be a common feed, especially on this game, and he'd done that in his West Ham career. Picks the ball up, crosses the ball to the back post. Southampton defender clears and gets surprise. It's Mr. Stuart Pearce on the edge of the box, smashing the ball low and hard into the bottom right-hand corner. So we lead 2-1. You know me, gents, and as we are sporting fans. And to be honest, this goal is world class. Wayne Bridge picking the ball up on the left, running, and he just puts this inch-perfect ball. And James Beattie just gets the perfect touch on it. Xhaka Hislop had no chance. It literally went in the far corner. And James Beattie, gents, he went to Everton, but I think he sort of went downhill. But he always seemed to do well, not just against us, but in the Premier League. And since he had done that move, I think it must have been the fee. It sort of knocked his confidence a bit, didn't it?
He was at Blackburn as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no,
I thought he was a decent player, to be fair.
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, he played for England a couple of times, obviously, as well. Moving on to the second, obviously we're in the second half. Late on in the second half, Di Canio has a ball on the right hand side of the penalty area. He then plays it short to Sinclair. A surprise, surprise. Plays the ball into the box, and now the man, all he had to do was header it downwards, and he would have scored. Mr. Diawara, open goal, heads the ball over. Don't know how he misses, to be honest. And now we're talking about the winner, and this is just pure class. Lampard, under pressure on the edge of his box, flicks the ball over his head, falls to Di Canio. Di Canio flicks it on, and Trevor Sinclair, running just in the Southampton half, takes it down on his chest. As you know, he's pacey. No one can catch him, and he smashes the ball into the bottom hand corner, and West Ham win the game 3-2. Cheers, Jeff. Back to you in the studio.
Well done.
I like that. Good job, Andy. We talked about Diawara. He wasn't our worst signing, striker-wise, this season, to be fair. I actually had the name of a gentleman that we signed this season on the back of a shirt. Might have been TT Kamara on the back of my West Ham shirt once upon a time. Not something I ever wish to repeat again on a live channel, I'm not going to lie to you. You say, Andy, it just shows you, the case you mentioned earlier about, Rio being prone to, some defensive errors and some frailties, but I've just watched the highlights of that, and you're right in what you say. We did look a bit wibbly wobbly, didn't we, on that goal?
Yeah.
It's not exactly.
And they're experienced players, Duke, as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Winterburn, Pierce, Stimac, Lomas, and they're experienced players.
Don't get me wrong, not the greatest of players, but like you say, they were experienced players, and they should have known better.
Yeah. But no, as you said, what you just saw that finish. What a finish from James Beattie.
And listen. He's one of them players that you kind of have a secret admiration for. I hated him when he played against us because he did shit like that. I mean, he was one of them players that. I
remember a goal we scored at Stamford Bridge. Remember after about 20 seconds in the gut when he just smashes it on the volley from 30 yards or whatever. So another good player.
I mean, I didn't like him playing against us. But you've got to have a lot of respect. A bit like Danny Ings in a way. I don't like coming up and going. There's something about him and Danny Ings that to remind me of each other. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's one of them. Mr. Gates, your second game, please, sir.
Okay, let me just have a little. Oh, there it is. Right. Okay, let me just press a few buttons. And this was on Boxing Day. So this was. The 26th of December 2000, London Derby, ladies and gentlemen, and it was West Ham United 5, Charlton Athletic 0. And again, if any of you should wish to either, as we do this, or even if you're watching this at a later stage, I have just put into the live chat the YouTube link for the feed that I am going to be watching. But let's just go through really quickly some of the finer details. So the referee was Steve Dunn. For those of you of an older vintage, you'll remember Mr. Dunn. Our attendance was 26,046. Not a bad effort. And you're looking at the lineups there. West Ham consisted of Shaka Hislop in goal, Stuart Pearce, Rigobert Song, Nigel Winterburn, Michael Carrick, Frank Lampard, Steve Lomas, Trevor Sinclair, TT Kamara, oh dear, not good. Paolo Di Canio and Frederick Canute. Charlton Athletic consisted of Dean Kiley in goal, Steve Brown, Richard Rufus, Chris Powell, who would later obviously join our team a couple of seasons later, Klaus Jensen, Mark Kinsella, Radostin Kishishev, John Robinson, Graham Stewart, Jonathan Johansson, and Matthias Svensson. Just scrolling down a little bit so you can see the substitutions that took place. In the 80th minute, we made a double substitution. John Moncur and Joe Cole coming on for Trevor Sinclair and Titi Kamara, and Hanu Tiernan coming on in the 86th minute for Paolo Di Canio. For Charlton Athletic, Martin Pringle was introduced in the 26th minute for Matthias Svensson. Scott Parker, again, another player who would later turn up at Upton Park in the 70th minute, was introduced for Radostin Kishishev. And Paul Konchesky, another soon-to-be West Ham player, was introduced in the 82nd minute for John Robinson. So there's a few, excuse me, a few soon-to-be West Ham players that are on the way in the coming years. So, right, let me just move that on. And, okay, so, hang on. Just get the banner going. There we go. So, okay, so if any of you guys that are watching this, as I say, if you go to that YouTube link that I've just put in the live chat, you can watch this with me, no problem at all. And as you can sort of can work out, from a 5-0 victory, it was most of the attacks were from us, and very early on, the first goal was in the 13th minute, and it was a goal that was flighted into the sort of the penalty box. Di Canio was buzzing around. The defence was trying to sort themselves out, and Di Canio just nonchalantly the ball's in midair, and he sort of backheels it, and it sort of scoops up off of Richard Rufus and ends up going past Dean Kiley in the back of the net for an own goal. 1-0 to West Ham, and we're off and running. A little bit later on in the first half, Di Canio plays a nice little ball down the right-hand side for Trevor Sinclair, who backheels it into the path of Freddie Canute. The Charlton defender, I'm not too sure who it was. I'm not entirely sure. It might have been Klaus Jensen. Just let him go past him, and Freddie Canute sort of prods his foot out. It looks like it was with the outside of his right foot, steers it past Dean Kiley, and makes it 2-0. But I think it was lazy defending, because whoever it was, I'm fairly sure, I don't know, it might have been, but whoever it was poor defending. And there was a defender that comes sliding in to try and retrieve the situation, but it was too little too late. Still in the first half, Lampard swings the ball over from right to left, and Di Canio gets on the end of it. He sort of he goes one way, then the other. He's bamboozling the defence. He stands the ball up, and Lampard comes running into the 6-yard box, side foot volley, and just sort of pushes the ball past Dean Kiley. It's 3-0, and we're only 45 minutes into the game. We've got another 45 minutes yet to go. They're 3-0 down, Charlton, and it's really looking a bit bad for them. I think they've probably overdone it on the old Christmas sherry. So we move into the second half, and Michael Carrick plays a nice little ball onto the sort of the left-hand side. It's crossed in. They play the ball out. It comes to Trevor Sinclair, who sort of on his thigh cushions the ball, and then hits this absolute pile-driving shot from fully 25 yards easy, and launches it past Dean Kiley. He makes a dive, absolutely no chance of getting it. The ball sort of nestles in the back of the net, and he must have hit it so hard because the ball's rolling out and it's well clear of the 6-yard box. It's still moving. And then we move to the final goal. It's a lovely little ball from Michael Carrick. And again, the Charlton defence, they're all at sea. Freddie Canute runs onto it. He takes it on, leaves the defender for dead, strokes the ball past Dean Kiley. And I was there when this game was going on, and yeah, Charlton got absolutely destroyed. For me, the goal of the match, it's no contest. It was all day long. It was Trevor Sinclair. He was absolutely brilliant on this particular occasion. But that goal that he got, like I say, it sort of comes to him. He cushions it on his thigh. He then hits this powerful shot. And as I say, Dean Kiley dives, but he might as well not have bothered, to be perfectly honest with you, because there was no chance from the moment it left his boot. He was never, ever going to get that ball. And yeah, Christmas program off and running, and West Ham get 5 goals to their name in a London derby. Not bad at all.
I mean, rightly so. You said there, the goal of a 5-goal game was obviously Sinclair's. regardless of the defensive faux pas, if you want, from the Charlton centre back, the Canute goal, the first one, where he actually wins the ball just inside their half, and then he's already on the move when he lays it off. To the point, obviously, when you get the back heel or the pass from Trevor Sinclair, he's there to receive it. Yeah, he gets a little bit of luck from, you know, it going through the defender's legs and kind of hitting his heel and coming back into his path. But the finish is honestly, is such a good finish. It's so casual. It's the outside of that boot, tuck that in there. A bit like the
You know what it
Canio from,
reminded me of? Yeah, I was just about to say it reminded me of the Di Canio goal at Old Trafford.
yeah, very much so. That it's kind of nonchalant, just a flick of the foot outside of the right, and then it goes. And special props, just quickly before I move on to mine. The two balls from Carrick for the two goals. I mean, listen, you guys, and regular watchers of the channel will know my feelings towards Michael Carrick being one of the biggest underrated players, midfielders and English players in the Premier League era. I think he didn't get us anywhere near the recognition that he deserved. He was an outstanding player. Could put a ball on a sixpence. You know, it was. When I tell you now, he had the passing range of and the passing accuracy of David Beckham.
Both footed
in open play. He was both footed, and he had the tenacity and he had the tenacity of Paul Scholes. He had the tackling aspect of Nicky Butt. You know, three players that he played alongside at United. I think he played. Did he play alongside Beckham? I'm not sure, but he played in a United side. Yeah, Sharky says he should have got more England caps. I mean, all day long. For me, he was one of the most underrated. Carrick was one of the most underrated players, English players in the Premier League, especially midfield. I think he gets overlooked because of the likes of Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes in that United side. But for me, I mean, technique and everything else. I remember watching him in the FA Youth Cup. Joe Cole down the left hand side, kind of just stands the ball up to the edge of the box. And Carrick's technique on the volley was just against Coventry at Upton Park. The technique was just, it was perfection. If you go back and watch it, and I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere, ball drops out of the sky. There is absolutely zero backlift. His back is ramrod straight. He's not leaning back. He's not leaning over the ball. He is literally ramrod straight, and he just swings this wand of a right foot, and this thing hits the bar, right? And he doesn't put. There's no power behind it. It's pure technique. This ball hits the crossbar and bounces once before it's over the halfway line. That's how good that shot was. It was amazing. And I would just watch those two passes there for the fourth and fifth goal. He was the one that puts the ball out wide for the cross for the Sinclair goal, and it's inch perfect. It literally the what we call defence splitting passes, and the same for that final one for Canute. Just absolutely brilliant. Like, and I've got more time for him than I have Lampard. You know, we went down. Defoe, was it the Birmingham game? We go down. We're coming back from Birmingham. Defoe's practically handed a transfer request in as he's taking his boots off in the changing rooms, and then you've got Carrick that turns around and pretty much, you know, not the exact words, but pretty much word for word, I'll give you a season. I've got to think about my career. I've got to think about my England aspirations. I want to play for England. I don't think I can do that in the Championship. I need in whatever it was then. I think it was. I want to play top flight football. I'll give you a season, and he did, and he gave us his all in that season in the Championship. You know, unlike Defoe, who got himself sent off Was it twice in the first 3-4 games, or was it
times.
3 times in the first 6 games? Wasn't it something stupid like that? You know, he had no interest in playing for us after we got relegated. Whereas you got Carrick, consummate professional. For me, one of my all-time favourite West Ham. He's definitely in my Hammers 11, which is over on the West Ham Network. If you want to go see it, it's one of my first videos I ever did live. Right, my game. Now this one has a bit of a personal attachment to it because on about 70 odd minutes, I had to leave the pub to go pick up the keys to my first house that me and Joe lived in together.
Wow.
We were just exactly, mate. We were in the Horse and Groom in Dartford, which is no longer there, Gatesy. I'm sure you can attest to that. It's the one that was on Lowfield Street. Lovely pub, and we went in there to watch this game. Now I've just got the highlights.
I'm trying to remember it, Duke.
Big cream square building.
I know you got the Horse and Groom at Wilmington.
No, it might have been the Coach and Horses then. It was on Lowfield Street, opposite where you were Thursday, in fact. Near enough, bang opposite. You got Talking to Town. It was just up from Talking to Town on that corner. Yeah, it was there. And
it's not what's now an Undertaker's, is it?
No. That was the Wheat Sheaf. That's on the opposite side. You want to go back the other side and further up round the corner from the Working Men's Club where you were for the Macca event. So this game here, obviously, I've got the highlights on. I'll tell you what I will do. If I do that, and then come up onto here, go there, and there. You guys, if you want to watch it with me, there it is. And the opening goal, mate, 31 minutes, is just, it's fucking ridiculous. That's all I've got for you. It's fucking ridiculous. I mean, I look at that Tottenham side, and yeah, it's not a bad side. Yeah, I mean, James there says it. I'll get to that in a second, James. So the first goal, you know, Rebrov, it's basically just a long throw, boys. It's a long throw from the left-hand side into the box. It goes over the head of a Spurs player trying to win it, and one of the West Ham players bottles like the going in behind him. It looks like it could be Di Canio, actually. Yeah, it is Di Canio. Kind of bottles coming in behind him trying to win the ball. And the ball falls onto Sergei Rebrov's left boot. And, well, there's no other words. If you're watching it, guys, you'll see what I mean. He unleashes an absolutely banging volley. Now, you can pinpoint a bit of blame on Hislop, because at first watch, the volley looks like it goes across him into the far right-hand side of the post. It doesn't. It actually goes straight down the middle of the goal, and he's actually only about a foot from his hand. If he sticks his hand out, he saves that. It goes over. So it's actually, at first watch, it's a banging goal. It's a really, really great volley. He catches it perfectly, don't get me wrong. But the fact that it kind of goes straight down the middle and Hislop is standing too far to the left of his goal, it's kind of a letdown, really. You know, we move on, and if my memory serves, which it normally does in games that I can put an emotional attachment to, someone gets fouled about 35 yards out. Now, James says this. It was pissing down my pants, James, yeah. James says it in the chat. Stuart Pearce, about 25, 28 yards out. Now, we get a free kick, and if my memory serves, Stefan Freund was involved. The German international was involved in whatever it was. And you've got Stuart Pearce standing about between 10 and 15 yards away from the ball. You've got Di Canio and Lampard standing over it. Di Canio on the ball, Lampard maybe a yard off. Now, what I remember about this is Di Canio touches the ball. Lampard puts a stops it. Is it Lampard? It looks like it's Lampard. And then Pierce just comes through with this left foot that is just like it comes off his foot like an exorcist. This thing is arrowing, and it is like it's bone straight. Add that straight in the bottom bins. It's Freund comes out to try and block it. Now, in the actual game footage, if you're watching it, Freund is backing up. Obviously, Tottenham have kick off. It goes back to the goalkeeper, and Freund is backing up, and Pierce comes not necessarily running, but not quite walking. It was that he was coming with a purpose, and he slams into the back of Stefan Freund with his chest, gives it all of that. Freund turns, and Pierce is like this, and you can see that he was there going, "That's what you get. That's what you get for what you've just done." And it sticks with me. That moment sticks with me because I jumped on a big bald geezer. I say big bald geezer. It's probably me in the future, in the past, me from now, back then. Jumped on this geezer, wrapped my arms around his neck, kissing the top of his bald head because of the goal. Just absolutely losing my shit at this point. Tottenham go 2-1 up, and it's such a piss poor goal to concede. If we're looking at it now, it's a long ball forward. We get caught with two players going towards the ball, which Les Ferdinand wins in the air. It looks like it's Stuart Pearce and Igor Stimac, and basically you end up in a situation where Daly and Winterburn are caught kind of ball watching. Ball falls to Rebrov. Now in the replay, it actually shows that Rebrov was probably about half a yard offside. But it doesn't matter. Play to the whistle and all that bollocks. He's about half a yard offside, and he one touches the ball away from, gives himself a little bit of space from the Daly coming in and Winterburn the other side, and he kind of tucks it across and through the legs of Hislop. Yeah, I mean, in VAR, that's given as offside. I'm watching it now. It goes through the legs of Hislop across the goal. I mean, the Upton Park pitch is turd. I mean, I've played on better pitches at Charlton Park and Hackney Marshes, to be fair. But yeah, Stimac and Pearce get dragged towards the ball. Daly's caught out of position. Good finish through the legs of the keeper. Again, Hislop probably wants to do better. The third goal is just even worse. If we can see one of these, and in this day and age, questions are going to be asked. It's a long free kick, long corner kick from the left-hand side, and it is punted to literally the opposite corner of the 6-yard box, where I think it hit Matt Doherty or Gary Doherty. I can't remember which one it was. I think it's Gary was the player for Tottenham, and he wins a unmarked header at the back post, and it's a standing header. It's awful. He's unmarked. You've got Joe Cole on the back post, if you will, from where the corner is, near post to where the header is, and he kind of moves out the way of the ball. He kind of moves, and Hislop dives despairingly. Comes up off of a very slick surface. But if you guys are watching what I'm watching here, it's very, very poor from Joe Cole. He kind of moves out of the way of the ball. I don't know whether he thinks it's going wide or whether he thinks that Hislop's going to get it. But his face onto the ball, and then he turns his body to the side, and he allows the ball to go across his body and past the despairing dive of Shaka Hislop. Very disappointing goal to concede. And then our third, Joe Cole, coming down again, our left, their right. He tries to play a diagonal ball to the on-rush in, I want to say, Canute, down the right-hand side. And it comes off of some floppy-head Pratt's heel as he's running. But if he moves his foot, it goes out to Canute, and they have a but they get a chance to reset themselves before ball comes into the box. He doesn't. Kind of sticks his leg back. It bounces off of his heel and goes over the head of the Tottenham defender, Sol Campbell. He kind of tries to do a hooked over the shoulder volley, and as the ball bounces, it bounces up, slides away. But Todorov, I believe we sold him to Pompey, where Redknapp went. Pardon me. Todorov is aware that Campbell might not get there. He's also aware of the skiddy surface, and as the ball drops off the bounce, kind of wraps his left foot about it and tucks it back underneath the body. I think it's Sullivan, tucks it underneath Sullivan's body, and into the far right corner. It's a really, really well taken finish from Todorov. Really does keep his calm. I think someone mentioned earlier, Sharky says it's one of the few goals that Todorov actually scores for us. And as Luke there says, taking the piss, first of many, many goals for us. We do actually have a chance towards the end of the second half. Canuti picks the ball up on the right and he cuts inside, beating his man, and he hits a very good shot going into the bottom left corner. And Sullivan gets down, and it's one of those shots that it's hitting the surface as it hits the goalkeeper's hand. If the goalkeeper doesn't time it right, it's either going to go under his hand or it's going to skid up off the surface and go over his hand. It's a really good save. He gets down really well, gets a strong hand to it, palms it away to the edge of the six, but towards the corner of the six. Defender clears it. And yeah, Spurs go on and win 3-2. Now, I never saw Todorov's goal live. I was sitting in the back of a taxi going over to Thamesmead, believe it or not, to pick up the keys for mine and Joe's first house together. All them many, many moons ago. So it's one of the reasons I chose it, because it's a good memory for me, a personal memory, and again, at the end of that FA Cup run that I actually thought we might win that season, as James mentioned earlier, the win at the Stadium of Light. I covered the game beforehand, which was obviously the Man U game. To be fair, Sharky, he was more prolific than TT Kamara, but I never had Todorov's name on the back of my shirt. That's all I'm going to say. Boys, what do you think? Andy, I don't know whether you have many memories of that game. You were only 10 years old,
I remember bits of it because, like you, I went down my local, so I think I was with my nan and granddad. So, like you said, the old whole projector screen. I'm cover on the pool table, so I'm standing there up, so I can still see it above everyone. Smoke everywhere, because obviously you could still smoke in the pub back then.
Yeah.
So smoke everywhere. Yeah, I do remember it, and I remember that this was my first real season of watching football.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I don't really like it. Do you know what I mean? Like, the disappointment of, but as everyone is now, you've got used to it, and these sort of seasons, what we're having now, you've got to cherish, because you never know what's around the corner.
It also makes you appreciate the seasons we've just had, Milesy, doesn't it? I mean, me and Gatesy did a video with Budgie. I hope Budgie doesn't mind me talking about it. I don't know whether did it go out live, Gatesy? I can't remember whether we went out live or whether we recorded it.
What, the one on Saturday?
Saturday, yeah.
I believe it was live.
It was live, so if it was, then I'll talk about it. We did his new series is called the Match Day Rewind.
Yeah.
And we covered the last game at the bowling.
Yeah, well, it was live, because we had people on the live chat, didn't we?
We did, yes. So we were talking about that, and I actually made a comment of, we didn't have the thoughts of this channel and being able to have the option of being able to talk about certain games, and obviously that game against the bowling, against Man U at the bowling was a big thing, and And obviously, it was nice to be able to go back and talk about that game in particular. Whereas we're doing seasons, he's just picking, memorable games from West Ham's history. But it was nice, same as these games. It was nice to be able to go back and actually talk about and everything that we've done so far, previous videos. And although we've had a good number of months off, that's at least 6, because we haven't done any since I've been at this pub. My memory serves. So it's been a good 6 months off that we've, and it feels really good to be back and talking about the old games. And to be honest, by the time we get round to the end of the coming season, we'll be doing last season. So it could be quite interesting to do.
And like you said, it's all not doom and gloom, but we have some shit coming up. And it's like a nightmare, isn't it? You know it's happening, but you're still going to shit yourself when it happens.
Can't do nothing about it. I mean,
yeah.
Well, next season will be fun. We finish 7th.
No, but I mean, like the relegate, like
the one after
the relegations and the playoff, final defeat against fucking Palace. I remember where I was for that. And
why?
Yeah, them singing. What's their song that they sing?
Glad all over.
Yeah, having to listen to that bullshit fucking belt out. It's stuff like that. But listen, we have to take the rough because we know that there are, like we said, some really good times coming up. But like I say, by the time we get to the end of the season, or next season specifically, and by that I mean current season coming up, we're gonna have covered, being back in Europe under Big Sam and signing 27,000 players and hoping that we can try and acclimatise them into a team and hopefully it'll work. Yeah, Carlos Sanchez. We're gonna cover, that season of leaving the bowling and the Dimitri Payet era, regardless of how you feel about him. Very special player, and that's a good thing about doing these is you get to go back and you get to remember. Although you have to suffer the hard times and we have to go through the absolute bullshit of, like you said, the relegation season, but we get to enjoy the good times. Payet against Middlesbrough at the London Stadium, where he beats the entire team at least twice over inside their penalty box before just kind of p-rolling it past the keeper.
But we've even got that. We've got like signing Everton coming up. Marlon Harewood, like what players they impacted our lives at the time. So that's what I'm more looking forward to.
But then again, like Luke says, times where we're signing Nigel Carsey, you're questioning.
Can I just highlight though the plight of Nigels in the UK? There is a shortage of Nigels. Did you know that I think it was last year, there was no recorded births of anyone in the UK with the name of Nigel given to them?
Poor Nigel.
Rob.
Nigel
Rob.
Ben. Nigel Rio.
There's been some great Nigel. But would you call your son Nigel? Look at little baby Nigel. No.
Would you take the piss out of Nigel Ben for his first name?
Hey, listen, not taking the piss out of Nigel Ben for being Nigel Ben. I wouldn't take the piss out of a grown man for having the name Nigel. It's a great name for anyone over the age of 21.
Didn't we have a chancellor, Nigel Lawson? That was another one, Nigel.
Who's the cookery? Who's the cookery bird?
Nigella.
Nigella. That's it. That's a nice adaptation of the male name Nigel, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're single. You ain't having no more kids. Behave yourself.
Nah, you can have a Nigel. We need
you
more
can
Nigels.
Save the name, Becca. You can save the name Nigel. You will be known as a hero.
What about Nigel Farage?
Yeah, Nigel Farage.
Yeah, anyway.
Most importantly, Nigel Mansell.
Yes.
He is the great
car champion.
And he had a great moustache. Andy, have you seen Top Gun yet?
No.
I was going to say, because that explains why this lot hasn't gone and you're just left with this. My boss came in today.
Yeah.
And the first thing I noticed was he's shaved off and he's just got the tash. I went, someone's seen Top Gun. He went, how did you guess? That's why.
Mate, I'll send you a picture. I'll send you a picture, yeah? So, obviously, we went away on holiday, and I thought, yeah, that's all right. I've just left a bit of sun. I've just got a big grey mark here. It's just a big, massive grey patch all on my beard, which just suddenly appeared. And it's like, what the fuck's going on?
Mate, I'll get grey eyebrows. I'll get a grey slap bang in the middle of that. It looks distinguished. And every time I say I'm going to keep it, Joe tells me to fucking shave it off. But it looks distinguished because I just have like this grey straight down the middle of my chin. Rob's just grey from here all the way down to his legs.
Poor Rob.
I'm not wrong though, Rob, am I?
I'm used to this.
You've missed it.
And we've got, talking of Nigel Winterburn.
Nigel Winterburn. Yeah.
Big Nigel is a goal. He's goal away at Leeds, as we spoke about earlier. Andy, anything you want to add before we wrap it up and we call it a day because we have been going.
It's our hammer of the year for that season.
It is. Yeah, good shout. Go on then, give me yours.
Mine is actually Nigel Winterburn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because whenever I've seen him for his age, I think I more remember him for the next season what we're going to cover. But the fact that he's moved over from Arsenal, he's got that crucial goal, and I think it's his experience, and he was a decent football player, and I think it was right to get a player like that. It was close between him and Stuart Pearce, but I went for, because I know we give him a lot of praise, but I don't think many fans remember him and give him the credit he deserves. So mine's Nigel.
Unsung hero.
Yeah, so mine's Nigel Winterburn.
Mr. Gates, could I hazard a guess at your player of the season?
You can hazard a guess if you wish, my friend.
Would it have been Christian Bastia? Made a grand total of 4 substitute appearances in the season.
No, he was in contention. There was Kaba Diawara, there was Titi Kamara, Hayden Fox. No, I agree with Luke. It was Stuart Pearce who actually was the official hammer of the year this particular season.
I mean, yes. I will concede actually to both of you. When you consider Winterburn comes over, and he actually played 33 games for us that season. 40 games. Sorry, 40 games in total. You know, Stuart Pearce plays. What did he play? 42. There's not much between the pair of them. You know, they play a lot of games, and when you consider the ages that we're talking about here as well, you know, and Pearce, you know, it's the shifts that the pair of them put in were impressive. I mean, one of my favourite hammers, Mr. Reliable, Steve Potts. You know, he made 11 appearances that season. Yeah, Luke, Hayden Fox, I was just saying earlier. I actually had him pegged in as playing in the FA Cup game, but he didn't. It was Tahinen, and I love Tahinen. We only had him in on loan, and I think we wanted to sign him, but I think there was something there that stopped us from doing it. He actually played in 2 of the FA Cup games, played in 8 appearances in the league. You know, I liked him. Joe Cole, 30 starts, 30 starts and 6 sub appearances. Carrick, 41 games he plays that season. Lampard, 37. So you've got a few there that, put in some shifts. But I'm going to concede to the pair of you. You both make valid arguments for both of you. Both the hammer of the year, and it could have been given to either one of them. So
Grant McCann has to get a mention, though.
Grant McCann, who played a grand total of 1 substitute appearance.
Yep.
Raggy Soma, Jermaine Defoe. Jermaine Defoe only actually made 2 sub appearances that season, Rob. By water made
Marcus, who
one
actually
appearance. Javier
retired.
Marcus. He actually dyed his hair claret, didn't he? I think at one point.
Did you hear the story that apparently when they went to sort of like the hotel where he was staying, he literally jumped out of the window and basically fucked off? You never heard that story?
No.
Yeah, no.
We have habit with centre backs from. Have habit with centre backs from the countries.
Yeah, they never saw him again. Literally, he just sort of like he jumped out the window with all of his stuff and fucked off.
I'm really not surprised. Did we sign him off at the back of the World Cup?
Must have been, yeah.
Or was it the
I
Euro?
actually thought there were times.
That would have been Euro. No, it would have been the World Cup. The World Cup would have been '98, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but he's Chilean. He wouldn't have played in the Euros.
That's what I mean. It would have been the World Cup in '98 that would have been something when we would have spotted him. Yeah.
Yeah. But I actually thought he was a decent player.
He was a good player, but then so was the other madcap Fruit Loop that we had that was a centre back, in Tommy Retka. I absolutely loved him, partially because Anton thought I looked like him, but that's not the point.
Gents, so moving on to next week, are we gonna just get the viewers? Did you say Tuesday nights you're available because England women are playing next Monday night? So we obviously don't want to be doing it when England women are playing.
I'm quite happy to go Tuesday. I can make sure I'm off. Or Rob, are you busy?
I don't think I'm doing anything that can't be rearranged. So
yeah. No, I'm just thinking because I like what Duke was mentioning at the start of the stream. Obviously, football's coming back, and I know it's not England men's, but it should be quite exciting, and obviously it could be a crucial game. So I think for more interaction and homework for next Tuesday.
Exactly, and if we can get, like I say, if we speak over the weekend when we create the stream, if we even put a, tell you what I might do, discuss that off air. We'll discuss that off air. I have a little bit of an idea for next week's show. Please keep an eye on Facebook and Twitter, because if we do this, it's going to go out maybe tomorrow. I'll probably get it out tomorrow while I'm working. Andy, anything else you want to add? If we'll discuss.
No,
I
just want to thank you. Thank you to you and Gatesy for. I know we've been talking about it, but thanks for letting me to come back to do this. Thanks everyone in the chat. I like what we mentioned at the start. I was very excited. We said this a couple of months ago that we need to do it, and we've all been busy and holidays, etc. But now we're back, and hopefully we've got a certain window. Obviously, we're still pre-season, so it may alternate, but it'll probably be on a Monday and Tuesday. But what we'll do is keep everyone updated, and I'm buzzing for next week.
We might have to do Tuesday once the season starts, because obviously we're going to have fingers crossed, Europa Conference games on a Thursday. So it would make sense then that a lot of our games will be on a Sunday, which can mean that we need to do post-match reviews on a Monday. So it would more than likely be that we're looking at a Tuesday. We might have to cut some of the opening gambits of 45 minutes of chatting shit, because I can imagine Rob really doesn't want to be doing 27 hours a week of YouTube videos. I've got a feeling our missus your missus as well, Andy, might end up fucking walking away or setting up their own YouTube channel moaning about us three being on a YouTube channel.
Oh, the irony.
Gatesy, anything you want to add? Your little closing gambit and speeches and stuff, because I didn't bother with that at the start. I told you, it's going to take some time to get back into the swing of things and remembering what I'm meant to be saying.
Just read that, for Christ's sakes. How hard could it be?
Go on in.
No, go on.
Like, subscribe, and tickle the bell.
Hey, he's coming with tickling the bell. I like it. I like it a lot. Guys, we shall.
Or lick the bell, whatever you're into.
Ooh. No. Not my cup of Tetley, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, I'm not into that either, to be fair.
You know, each to their own, but yeah.
Gatesy, anything you want to add around this week's show?
Exactly what Milesy said. Thanks everybody for watching and listening to us three prattle on for 2 hours and 5 minutes and counting.
Yeah, and for those that come and watch it at a later date and, you know, that couldn't be with us on this, you know, drop your, in the comments below the video, if you haven't watched it live, let us know, you know, your hammer of the year, your favourite moment from this season. As I say, keep an eye on Facebook, keep an eye on Twitter. Rob's going to deal with TikTok. I don't touch that shit.
To be honest, I've not really bothered with that. You know,
mate, to be honest, we haven't done much over. You know, you've been busy, I've been busy. You know, it's very difficult for us, unlike the other channels, to be able to you know, go live at the drop of a hat for transfer you know, targets and you know, the thing when we signed Ariola, you know, certain channels went live. And good luck to them, but it's very difficult for you and I to be able to do that at a moment's notice. You know, I'm downstairs with a pub, you're busy with your work, Andy, you know, you're doing yours as well. So it's not that simple. So, you know, the people that have been in the chat, the people that watch this later down the line, thank you for bearing with us. Thanks for sticking around when we haven't been posting material and putting stuff out there. We are looking to make that change. Obviously, once the season starts again, you will get pre-post. You might get some other bits and pieces. Yes, Tom, we are back. You're going to have to go back and watch it because we're nearly finished. But it's been... Kieran's just rocked up. Kieran, we're just about to call it a day, my man. But no, like I say, thank those of you that have been around. Thank you for sticking around. Thanks for bearing with us while we managed to get this series back up and underway. You know, thanks for hanging around when we haven't been pumping out anything for, you know, a significant amount of time. I am going to sit down with Rob. We are going to try and get some sort of hopefully some sort of schedule where we can maybe get you guys some stuff back again, because I'll be honest with you, Rob, I don't know about you and Andy yourself, I've missed doing just live shows, not even just being on YouTube. You know, I did a live stream the other night with Reese and Lucas from America. Kind of jumped on theirs for, you know, half an hour to just, and it felt good to be back. And like I say, I don't know about you two boys, but I enjoy doing it, especially the live videos. You know.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Guys, as Andy said a minute ago, like, comment, subscribe. Do me a favour in the comments below. Please leave, like I say, your favourite moments, your hammer of the year, and anything you'd like us to talk about in the next video. The next season will be 2001, 2002. So you can either leave it in the comments below. We'll come back, we'll have a look, or you know, our Twitter handles are here. My personal one is here. Gatesy's got the Twitter handle for our Forge from Iron page. Leave us a message. Tell us what you want to talk about. Keep an eye on those, because, as I said, because we're going to put some stuff out on there in the coming weeks. And we shall see you soon. Now, I've taken over the mantle of this over the videos that used to have not been available. But seeing as you're back, I'm going to hand it back to you, Milesy. What are we?
We are fucking massive.
Indeed, we are. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Gatesy, Andy, thank you for joining me on this video. One thing left to say, Rob, what is it?
Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons. We'll see you next week.
I'll see you for a week. I'll see you for a window.
I like it.